Hola. Today we are going to review the two verbs of to be in Spanish, which are ser and estar. If you remember from Spanish 1, we have a dilemma in Spanish. There are two to be verbs. In English, we only have one. I am, you are, he is, etc. However, in Spanish, when you have different situations, you're going to use a different to be verb. We have ser and estar. This should be a review from Spanish 1. So what I want you to do before we take a closer look and review all the situations in which you would use each one, at the top of your guided note sheet, I want you to jot down what you do remember from Spanish 1. Do you remember the conjugation of the verb ser? Do you remember the conjugation of the verb estar? Now remember, they're both irregular verbs and they do not follow the normal AR, ER, IR ending conjugations. Also, do you remember when to use each one? Anything that you can remember, write it down. Now, I will not be grading what you remember from Spanish 1. This is just for you to see how much you remember and how much you don't. When you're done writing down what you remember, you can go through the rest of the presentation at your own pace. La conjugación del verbo ser. Yo soy. Tú eres. Él, ella, usted es. Nosotros somos. Vosotros sois. Ellos, ellas, ustedes son. While you watch the video of the uses of ser, on your guided note sheet, you are going to write down the rule in one or two words. And also you're going to draw a quick representation of that same rule to help you remember what it is. Let's take a closer look at the uses of ser. If you look to the right of the screen, you can see our mnemonic device that spells out doctor that is going to help us remember when to use ser. The D stands for descriptions of a person. For example, María es baja. The O stands for origin. Nosotros somos de los Estados Unidos. You would also use it for nationality, as in, nosotros somos estadounidenses. The C stands for characteristics of a person. This would be to describe their personality. For example, tú eres inteligente. The T stands for time or date. For example, son las 12 de la tarde. The date would be hoy es el 5 de septiembre. The second O stands for occupation. Yo soy una profesora de español. And the R stands for relationship. Relationship could be in relationship to a person or an object. For example, for a person, ella es mi madre. For an object, you could say la bola es mía. La conjugación del verbo estar. Yo estoy. Tú estás. Él, ella, usted está. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes están. As you watch the video on the uses of estar, on your guided note sheet, you are going to write down the rule in one or two words. And you're also going to draw a quick representation of that rule to help you remember. Let's take a closer look at the uses of estar. If you look to the right of your screen, you will see a mnemonic device that spells out place. This is going to help us remember the different uses of estar. Now, estar has less reasons and situations in which we need to use it. then ser. If you remember from Spanish 1, we have the saying of how you feel and where you are. Always use the verb estar. Now, this is a quick little rhyme to help you remember two reasons of emotion, how you feel, and location of where you are. However, now that you're in Spanish 2, we need to make sure that we know all the ins and outs of estar. The P in place stands for position. This could be a position of an object. For example, el libro está encima del pupitre. The L stands for location. This could be a location of a person or a building. For example, yo estoy en la clase de español. Or for a thing or a building, it could be la biblioteca está en el centro. The A stands for action. Now, when we talk about action, we're referring to the present progressive. This is when you use estar plus ando for AR verbs or yendo for ER/IR verbs. This in English would be the equivalent of is or are ing, like we are jumping, he is swinging. So an example in Spanish would be ella está corriendo. The C stands for condition. Now, condition refers to something that is not permanent but is short. For example, yo estoy cansada. I am not always tired, but I am tired now. The E stands for emotion. For example, nosotros estamos contentos. Now that we have reviewed the uses of ser and estar, as well as the conjugations, it's time to practice. As you can see, there are a bunch of words in red on this screen. What I want you to do is, on your guided note sheet, you are going to sort the words into the different columns of either ser or estar. For example, if we look at the first word, bajo. Bajo is short. That is a description of a person. So that is going to go in the ser column. You're going to go ahead and do the rest of the words, sorting them. When you're done sorting, you are going to make your own story using all of the words on the screen. Be creative and have fun, and you can choose whatever program you would like to write your story. You can put it in a PowerPoint, a Word document, a Prezi, etc. You get to choose. Have fun!